Today on the Weaponeer channel, we're going to be reviewing the PSOP 8x42 Delta from Webyshops. Today we're reviewing the PSOP 8x42 Delta D scope from Webyshops. Now, you're looking for a scope for your AK, SBD, PSL, NDM, or any other rifle that you may have with the Russian left side scope rail, or one that you placed on there. Well, then I suggest you take a look at this scope right here. This is the 8x42D. And the D is a lot like the old ones, which is, like this one right here. Here's the 8x42. And the only difference is that this one right here is a standard 8x42, and this one right here is the 8x42D. The difference between the two is this one right here has a diopter. Now, diopters have been used on Western scopes as well as binoculars forever. And, well, it's about time that the PSOP scopes had that same ability. Now, if you're kind of wondering, why, well, this right here allows you to look through your scope, and when you look through here, you're going to see the reticle lines, and you're going to see chevrons, and you're also going to be seeing the rangefinder on the side. Well, if you were using one like this and you were getting either up in age, or you just happen to be, let's say, wearing glasses. Well, when you look through a scope like this, what happens is you're looking through and you're seeing the reticle lines, but those reticle lines might be a little bit fuzzy. It's just not set up for your eyesight. So basically you were at the mercy of the scope. You were required to conform to the scope. Now with the new PSOP 8x42D, it allows you to have this diopter, and this right here is a wheel that turns back and forth. It allows you to adjust the focus, and that way you can look through the scope and you can see exactly nice, sharp, crisp lines. Now, this allows the scope to conform to you, which is a much better idea. And what I suggest is when you're going ahead and looking at this and you want to adjust it, go ahead and put it up to your eye and point it, obviously put the lens cap up, and then go ahead and look at a white wall. And all you want to be looking at is just the lines. And you look through and you turn it one way or the other until the lines are perfectly crisp. And at that point, you've already adjusted the diopter. There's nothing else you need to do with that. That right there, well, anytime you want to use your scope, it's already going to be preset. Now, well, this scope right here has a very durable baked enamel finish, and the old models had this gray finish, and this right here is the oldest scope I have. This is, boy, probably at least, well over a decade old. And the finish on this thing still looks brand new. And that tells you a whole lot about the finish, because this right here is a scope that's designed to be used and beat and everything else in the field. And, well, there's not a scratch on this coating here. And this thing right here has been a backup scope for many years. And because of that, it typically sits in boxes or anything else. It's not sitting on a rifle nicely in a safe or something. So this right here was the old model. And the old model differs from the new model in that the old model was gray. New model is black. Much better designed for our like black rifles. And if you take a look at the difference in size, that's only because on this old one I don't have the rubber end cap here. I have it, it's just not in use right now. What you notice is you take a rifle like this right here is a Yugoslavian SKS. This is the 5966, one with the grenade launcher. And as you can see, this has a side scope rail. This one right here has been set up as a DMR, and because of that, the scope rail was added. Now this right here you can add a scope rail to, you know, like 9130s and M44s. In fact, you can even add a scope to a Mauser. I actually have plans on adding one to a VZ24, which is a Czechoslovakian Mauser. And so you can actually add these to them. It takes a little bit of work. You know, you do have to go ahead and drill and tap 2 holes. And once you, or 2 or 3 holes, depending on the model you get. And then once you do that, then you can go ahead and attach the mount, or the rail, to your rifle, right directly to the receiver. And then the next step is to remove some wood on the receiver so you can actually lock the wood down. Now, once you do that, you end up with a beautiful setup. And this right here does work out fantastic. Since this is a rifle length, I get a little bit more velocity out of this than you would out of an AK. So in this case, this is another 8x42. This is a slightly newer one, but this is not one with the diopter. Something else you will notice is on the old models, the rubber cup here, well, this has a little tab on the outside, and that's so it kind of conforms to your face. The new ones are slightly different. The new ones are designed, now the old one worked okay, I don't have any problems with it. The new one is more general. It's just a flat cup. These are spring loaded, so there's no spring in there, it's just rubber. But I mean, it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to get slammed in the face by this. This right here protects your face. Now, unlike a lot of other scopes, if you take a good-sized rifle and then, like the 7.62 by 54R, and put it on a bolt action and then put your face really close to the scope, well, you can have some damage from that. Now, this scope comes with the built-in mount. It's already got the mount on it, obviously. It also comes with the rubber part here, and it comes with the built-in flip-up rubber eyepiece. Let's see, it's got a rubber switch cover right here, and it comes with a soft case, which is right here, and it comes with a manual. Also, this is covered by a 1-year warranty. Now, you got to remember that these are not surplus scopes. These are brand new, purpose-built. They got high-quality glass, extremely durable, and because of that, they have a great deal of value. The scope body on this thing is a special magnesium alloy. The Russians call it aluminum. Now, this has got multi-coated lenses, and that prevent reflection and glare and things like that. The inside of the scope has been nitrogen purged, so it's not going to do any fogging. It's got a red illuminated reticle. Right here is a little 1.5 volt, I believe, LED. The reticle on the inside, this right here is a 1,000 meter. So you can go ahead and see out to 1,000 meters, or you can use the rangefinder that works up to 1,000 meters. Get a kind of a dual rangefinder, and also for the rather than crosshairs, you have chevrons. And aiming chevrons allow you to set up the scope quite easily for whichever range you want to shoot. So if you want to shoot 100 meters to 400 meters, hey, you got it covered. You can do that with this, or you can actually do like 900 meters to like 12 or 1,300 meters. Works out great. Now, the LED system, it does have one issue, and this is an issue with any of the PSOPs. And the reason is well, the LED system is either on or off. There's no adjustment for brightness. Like I said, on or off. Now the little rubber covered switch, or this is a waterproof scope, and this little rubber cover allows you to turn it on or off. Well, that's something else. If you're going to be using this and you forget to go ahead and turn it off, the next time you try to use your scope, well, you're going to be left with dead batteries. Now, these do not take any real special batteries. You can get these batteries at Walmart, and they just install right here. It's like a watch battery. It might not positive which model, but if you're looking for a scope that has very very easy to find batteries. This right here is one. Very easy to go ahead and set up the the zero. Man, my mind went blank as soon as I was thinking about it. Easy to go ahead and set up a zero. You go ahead and you set up your zero. Take a look at the manual. The manual follows the whole area of the zeroing. But once you go ahead and you get your zero, you take these turrets right here, and you can go ahead and set these turrets to 0. So let's say if you go up 10 and left 4. Well, after you zero your rifle, you can go ahead and loosen up the screws there and then turn just the silver part and then lock it back down so the silver part says 0. Now, whenever you want to go ahead and go up or down, it's a very easy matter to just go ahead and go click, 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 and you're up 4 clicks. So if you want to go ahead and do a sight in for up to 400 meters, you can do that. But if you want to go ahead and do a sight in for 900 meters, if you have that information, that dope that's in a book, and it tells you exactly what or how many, not what, how many clicks up you have to go for that adjustment, then you can simply go up that many clicks and you're done. You're already sighted in for your 900 yards. Really nice and simple. This thing sits off further, off to the left than most of the other PSOPs, specifically the AK variants. The difference between the AK and the SKS, or the AK, SKS, and the SBD and PSL, well, that's the difference in the actual mount right here. And if you take a look, probably not going to see it real good, but if you take a look, you're going to notice that these mounts are slightly different. One of them, like this one right here, requires that it slides on until it stops in the back, and then you lock it in. And you take one like this slides on and it stops in the front. And once it stops in the front, then you go ahead and you lock it in place. Now, people go ahead and they buy this one, and then later on they might upgrade to this one, and then they say, okay, it's the wrong one because it doesn't go all the way forward and lock into place. It's not designed to. It's designed to go ahead and basically sit in a little notch here. So once it slides in, it only slides in so far to the stop, and then you just lock it in place. People are expecting it to go further, and it doesn't. So it's not the wrong scope. It will work fine. Now, overall, these scopes are built like a tank. They're quite well built. You can drop these. You can do just about anything to them, and they will function just fine. The LED light in here that just illuminates the reticles, that's how easy that comes out. And this one right here comes stock with the red one. Now you can go ahead, look online, you can find these little 1.5 volt LEDs. This is a special LED, not the regular LEDs you probably think of. You go ahead and you can buy yellow ones or green ones and white ones, and all you do is just go ahead and take that, the one you want to use, and you screw it in there and you're done. You'll automatically updated the color for the reticle. Now, one other thing. When you're looking through the scope, you can notice that the reticle is right dead center. Now, as you zero your scope, that reticle will actually change. And what I mean by that is normally when you look through a regular US scope, reticle is always dead center. And then, when you adjust your scope, it's always dead center. It's just the image moves and not the lines. But with the Russian scopes, what happens is the actual lines move within the scope. So you can go ahead and have your zero, or have your lines go up and to the left slightly. If you're not expecting that, it's like, what the heck? Because it is something to get used to. But once you realize that it's not a big deal, it's just that, and it stays there. Basically, when you go ahead and you zero it, it's going to go ahead and stop. That's where it's going to stay. It stays there. It doesn't get reset to the center. Once it's zeroed, wherever it's inside that scope body, that's where it stays. So, if you're used to that, it's not a big deal at all. It's not hard to shoot once you go ahead and go to the range and start shooting. you don't really notice it much. Which one's easier to use? This style or a US style? US style meaning if you want to go ahead and get used to a scope like this with a bullet drop compensating system in it. This one is much easier. The range it's set on here is just a slope, and all you do is you take a zombie with its feet on the bottom, on that line on the bottom, and its head on the top. Once you line it up like that and you look down below, and it'll have a number. That right there is it. You can tell exactly how far you've gone, or how far it is to that target. That's how easy it is. If it's 400 yards, you use that number of chevrons down, and it's that easy. There's nothing else to do. The other thing is that they typically go ahead and they use these scopes. They go 300 yards on the iron sights, because this sits off to the side, so you can see right directly down the barrel. So you use the iron sights up to 300 yards, and then you use your scope 300 on up. So it's a very easy scope to use in that fashion. Now, what can I say about it that's negative? Well, it's a very basic scope. The biggest drawback on this is how many clicks here. Well, when you take a look at look at a regular scope, you're talking at least 1/4 minute of angle. But something like this is actually 2 minutes of angle. And so if you're thinking 2 minutes of angle, well, the best the scope can ever do is shoot a 2-inch circle for your group. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's not all that great. But here's the little kicker. You're going to be most likely mounting this thing on an AK or SBD or PSL. And when you do that, well, those rifles are only going to be 2 MOA rifles. So by mounting a 2 MOA scope on a 2 MOA rifle, you're not losing anything. It's not a drawback at that point. So, I mean, it's entirely different if you expect to go ahead and go to the range and shoot little bitty groups. A PSOP scope's just not the way you need to go. But as far as the rifles, now this right here is a perfect match for them. This will do a really fine job. Now, I do carry another scope, and it's a zoom scope, and it's a lot bigger than this. But besides, this one right here is a fixed magnification. My other one's a variable. This one right here is far cheaper, by far cheaper. Yet, this right here shoots just as well. So, really, I didn't gain much with the bigger scope. I gained greater magnification and automatic range finding on it. But this right here, I could have done exactly the same thing, and just by using the rangefinder on the side. I didn't really gain anything. I didn't do anything better or worse. I could have gone with this and did just as fine with it. Now, these scopes are made in Belarus, and like I said, they're waterproof, black baked on and enamel finish. Magnification is 8 power. Angular field of view is 3 degrees. Operating temperature range, minus 58 Fahrenheit to 122 Fahrenheit, which is minus 50 to plus 50 Celsius. Overall dimensions in inches is 16.1 by 6.1 by 3.1. These scopes, have a lot going for them. They're tough, easy to use. Return to zero, and you'll work with a number of different calibers, which is kind of unique because this right here is set to be equal minute of angle for the chevrons. So if you're going to go ahead and look for a scope that's has those kind of qualifications, it works for 7.62 by 39 just as well as it works for 7.62 by 54R, then this right here is just a perfect scope for you. This will work for keeping zombies at bay, and I really think that if you're looking for an AK scope, I really suggest that you look at getting the D model. Now, like I said, I picked this up at Webyshops. That's because I get most of my scopes, most of my optics from Webyshops. This one right here is only 1 pound 15 ounces, so it's not super heavy, and that's including the mount. So it's really not that bad. The tension mount here, it's easy to set. Look in the manual. You know, if it's not, doesn't have the right tension, they're really super easy to go ahead and fix that tension and set it to your rail. Once you do that, it's done. You never have to adjust it again for that rifle. This is right here is the Russian Type 1 side mount. So if you're looking for a Russian Type 1 SPD PSL, then this is the one. This right here can be used with a minimum of training, and which worked out great for the AK, SPD, PSL. They don't require a whole lot of training. I've tested this scope right now, and for actually, not just now, I tested this thing for about 6-8 months, and it's actually worked phenomenally well. I really like it, and actually I think if you go ahead and purchase this, I think you're going to like it as well. I think it's a great buy, and I highly recommend it. If you're looking for the PSL or PSOP scope, this is the one I suggest you take a look at. The 8x42 Delta. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave it below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to rate my videos. I'm Weaponeer, and I'll catch you in the next one.